here last time, my name is Rachel Allen. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones here in Hermiston. I've been in the community for about 18 years. I've been with Edward Jones for just over a year now. Today, kind of in the keeping with the whole financial wellness, we're going to go over power of budgeting. So if you weren't here last time, we went over rules of the road, which was kind of 10 basic concepts with just understanding how to manage money, where to put money, and saving for retirement. So on that same note, power of budgeting. Welcome, still me. Okay. All right, so if you're anything like me and my household, power of budgeting, talking about budgeting usually ends up in a fight. So because, I should be able to spend my money, he thinks she should spend his. But keep in mind as we're going through this stuff that budgeting is painful for everybody. It doesn't really matter your income. It probably gets easier with a little bit more income. But frankly, as we get used to making more, we get used to spending more. And so when we kind of wake up at the end of the day, at the end of the year, ooh, we made how much on our taxes and we have what to show for it. So just keep in mind as we go through this to cater for yourself, but also keep in mind that when you have these budgeting conversations with your spouse, significant other, whoever that is in your life, yes, it's painful, but you have the same goals in mind at the end of the day. So with that in mind, confidence creates resilience. So oh, I'm ahead of myself here. Let's go back, sorry. Here we go, confidence creates resilience. So financial confidence, resilience in your life, it will help you and your spouse again, or you individually save for the long term, understand what our goals are, right? So all of us have a dream, I would assume, of not working someday. So the more that you can budget, the more disciplined you can be early on, the easier it will be when you make that transition into retirement because you will be prepared for it. So let's put you on that path. And in this workshop, we're going to explore the importance of creating a budget and maintaining that budget. Examine the differences between wants and needs, also very painful, and set goals for spending, savings, and debt repayment. Okay, so we are going to meet an individual. Where'd she go? There she is. Her name is Marta. She's 30 years old. She works 2 jobs. One is at a grocery store and one is at a hostess at a restaurant. She often feels overwhelmed by her debt. She has also paid bills late in the past. One reason is that her personal finances are not very organized. So she wants to become more financially stable. So Marta, she makes $2,500 a month in net income. She feels like she can't make her money last to the end of the month. How do we help her? Well, first thing is first, we need to figure out what she's actually making, gross versus net. This is very elementary, but let's just touch on it really fast. If I have a salary of $50,000 and at the end of the year I bring home $35,000, $50,000 is my gross. That's what I pay prior to taxes being taken out, prior to paying benefits. Net is what I'm actually bringing home. That's the money that goes into my bank account at the end of every year. Okay, so budgeting is a process of creating the plan for your money. How can it help you? It helps you live within your means. So I think one of the things that we all fall victim to is FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Well, my friend's doing it. They make X amount of dollars. I should be able to do it too. Not necessarily, right? We all have different ideas for what our future looks like. We all have different ideas for what our savings should look like. We have different priorities in life. So yes, I do have friends that go to concerts every month and it makes me insanely jealous. That being said, I know what my financial strategy is and I know what I want that to look like in 25-ish years. I don't want to age myself when I go to retirement. Okay, budget also helps you pay down your debt. Debt is one of the biggest things that can help us or that can hold us back and keep us from getting where we want to be. And help you save for the future and emergencies. Emergencies being a key one. Okay, so look at Marta's monthly expenses. Which items are wants and which are needs? And obviously it's going to depend. Sorry, this is covering my screen here. Let me just move that guy. Here we go. Okay. Coffee, clothing, groceries, transportation, car insurance, rent, cell phone, restaurants, health insurance, entertainment, utilities, salon, and car payment. Now, depending on who you ask, wants and needs might fall in a different category, right? My best friend, coffee is a definite need. Okay, definite need. Me, it's a want. I don't have to have it. Okay, she does. Trust me. Okay, salon, maybe not necessarily a need for her or a want for her. I have to have it. Okay, these grades don't cover themselves, so I have to budget for that salon every other month. It's unfortunate, but I do. Come on. Here we go. Okay, so based on that, okay, this is where they put wants and where they put needs. And I feel like we can probably all agree with this, right? We have to pay our rent or mortgage, whatever that looks like. We need to eat some food. We have to pay our bills, car payment, car insurance, transportation. Living here in Hermiston, probably maybe isn't $80. Ride your bike. It's small enough. Okay. Health insurance, depending on where you work or what you do, internet, and then obviously these things over here: wants, coffee, restaurants, entertainment, clothing, salon. Again, you will be able to cater this to your needs, but this is just a general overview of what she's spending a month and what we maybe can work on. Okay, how can she free up funds? Duh, cut expenses. The less you spend, the more you have. That's pretty elementary right there, right? Cut expenses, reduce spending. Price shop for services. It's okay to live within your means if that means that you don't buy a car from your best friend's sister's girlfriend's brother, right? It's okay. If you don't, it's okay to reach out. Can I get a better interest rate somewhere? Is that car the same car? Can I get a little cheaper somewhere else, right? We all fall victim to wanting to be loyal to our friends or our network, but sometimes it just doesn't work for our budget, and that's okay. Think about a new job, okay? Are there opportunities out there that maybe you're not capitalizing on? And consider freelance or gig work, right? Be an Uber driver, DoorDash. You could do, there's a lot of different opportunities, might help you a little bit at the end of every month. Okay, Marta's debts. So Marta has some credit cards. Honestly, that's not that bad. And she has some student loans. I feel like this was made a long time ago because I feel like all these numbers should be a lot higher. But okay, credit card A is $400 at an interest rate of 23%. B is $318, and student loans are $7,000 at an interest rate of 12%. So there's two different types of debt management strategies: the avalanche method and the snowball method. If anybody in here or online has heard of Dave Ramsey, we've all heard of the snowball method. Dave Ramsey is a huge proponent, huge advocate for snowball method. Avalanche method is another great one. Just kind of depends on what your debts are and what your flexibility is with income. So avalanche. This one you list from highest interest rate, not highest debt amount or lowest debt amount. Okay. One advantage of the avalanche method is it should save you money over time, because the sooner you can pay off that higher interest rate at 23%, like we saw with credit card A, the less obviously interest you're paying. So think about that in layman's terms, right? I invest in the market, you invest in the market, you've got your savings, you've got your IRA, you've got your 401k or whatever. We're fingers crossed hoping we're going to get 10 to 12, maybe in a good year, 15%. Why should I be paying anybody else 23%? That's ridiculous. Okay. Why are they making more than I'm making on my own dollar? No. So avalanche method means that we make our minimum payments on every single debt that we have, and that extra income we put towards that highest interest rate. Okay. Snowball method, smallest to largest debt, regardless of what we're paying on interest, right? So based on the last slide, I think it went 300, 400, 7,000. We're going to tackle the 300 first. Advantage there, psychologically, knowing that I'm putting money away and paying off that first debt, it can kind of get addicting. Like, oh man, I was able to save. I didn't spend as much on groceries this month. I didn't get that extra little tub of ice cream or whatever that I really, really wanted. Now I've got these freed up funds. I'm able to snowball method, and that feels really good. All of a sudden, my debts don't outweigh my income. Okay. Setting financial goals are the other really good motivator when it comes to budgeting your money. So short-term goals can be accomplished in a few months or up to a few years. Medium, 2 to 5 years. Long-term goals. Let's go over some of this for Marta, right? Marta, she wants to pay off her debts. That's a great short-term goal. Hopefully she has that done within 2 years, right? She's got a wedding she wants to go to, and she needs to be looking good in her outfit. Okay, so we need a new fit for that. So we got a budget. Okay, medium-term goals, 2 to 5 years. Maybe I want a new car. Maybe I want to save for a down payment on a house. Okay, long-term goals. Obviously, retirement falls into long-term goals. That's another one. Or a house, depending on what our finances look like that month. Okay. Make sure you set your own financial goals. Like we talked about last time, budgeting, income, how we allocate our funds, it's not a one-size-fits-all. I have kids, you may not have kids. My budget will probably look a lot different than your budget, right? I'm nearing retirement. I'm an empty nester. That person's budget is going to look a lot different than me trying to raise 2 teenage kids. Okay, so make sure that you set your own financial goals. If you want to go to that concert every other month, set that goal. Okay, my friends do it. Again, they look great on Instagram while I'm sitting at home, not at a concert. But That's their financial goals. I'm probably saving for something different, okay? Make a list and know if they're small, medium, or large. Why? Write it down. If you're budgeting with somebody else, it helps you work together. If you're budgeting by yourself, it helps you know, man, it's painful this month. Man, it's painful not getting that extra coffee or extra every Friday. I used to go get my nice big fancy coffee. Now I don't. Why? I know what I'm trying to do with my money. Black coffee at home is going to be okay. All right. So on that note, there's many kinds of budgeting strategies. We're going to go over two today. We're going to go over the 50-30-20 rule and the categories method. Okay. 50-30-20. This one's pretty simple. It's very elementary. If you're new to budgeting, if you're really just trying to get your budget under control, I would definitely recommend starting right here. Okay. So Marta earns $2,500 a month net, which means, so under this rule, no more than 50% of income should be spent on needs. Okay, so that is car payment, house payment, insurance, all of those things that we listed on needs. Now, in my opinion, take it or leave it, I think that's pretty low. I do. I would tailor it a little bit different for me, but this is a generalization. So on that same note, 30% of income on wants. Okay, so 30% of the $2,500, that's $750, goes to wants. So we're going to go over her budget again one more time. We're going to see how she lands, and then we'll adjust from there. 20% of income on savings and or debt repayment. Here's the other issue that I have with the 50-30-20. I flopped 20 and 30. I'm sorry, nobody else should be making 24% on my money. 23%. No. I'm stingy like that. I would flip those. That's just me. Okay, so on that same note, here's where we're at. So she currently, with her cuts that she made, she was able to cut $190. But on the 50-30-20 rule, we're still over by about $530, right? Because $1,250 is what she should be able to spend. We need to cut expenses somewhere else because we're not changing the rent. We saved a little bit on groceries. We did our best through here, which I think is pretty good. We got to find it somewhere else. So Marta's wants. She cut down her coffee to only $15 a month. That's pretty good. That's like, what, a coffee and a half anymore, but that's fine. Restaurants, okay? Restaurants, we saved maybe one time of eating out. Now we're eating out twice a month. We're at $70. Entertainment, yeah, we don't want to cut entertainment. Clothing, I feel like $100 is good. Getting down to 40, that's pretty great, okay? Salon, same thing. I'm sorry, box hair, that's not going to do it for me. This, no, nope. I'd stick with 100. Anyway, Martin's debt. So according to 50-30-20 rule, 20% of 2,500, excuse me, is $500. She's coming under here. Okay, so now her monthly saving is at $200. So according to 50-30-20 rule, she's not doing too bad. This is the categories method. I personally believe start with the 50-30-20. Okay, make big categories, itemize them from there. Make sure that works for you. Go 4, 6, 12 months of the 50-30-20 before we jump into the big boy. I think personally, I get dizzy just looking at this. I'm not knocking it. It's just a lot more detailed and it's a lot more broken down. Again, it's simple. It's a similar concept, right? Except for instead of doing needs and wants, now we have housing, which is a need, utilities, need, groceries, need. So it's broken down a little bit more. This one does allow for a little bit more shuffling around of funds. So maybe I don't spend on my $2,500. Maybe I've got really great rent. I don't spend that much on rent. Okay, so I can now allocate some of those funds somewhere else that helps me still stay within my budget. Any questions so far?
Do you have something that helps you? I like to see somebody juggle my finances. It's not my circumstances. They see why I get upset.
Yeah. You know, you would be surprised. I think I told you this when you were here waiting, but 20% of people say that they know how to budget their funds. 20% of adults.
I don't.
80% of grown adults with jobs, with kids, say they have no idea. And that is why this is so important. And it seems so basic, but honestly, again, we start to think that, oh, well, I'm making X amount. I should be able to spend X amount. A lot of the time when people come in, they're about to retire, we're 4-6 months to retirement. Well, I've got this much. They don't know what that translates into. They don't know what that means. How much per month am I gonna actually make on this retirement? And so not only setting this budget, but having these conversations, talk to an advisor. I meet with people all the time that don't end up being clients because they're not there yet. But I do. We go over budget. We go over
Can we
spending.
do that?
Yes, we can. I'll give you a card at the end.
I don't understand this at all.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. I'm thinking a second job as is, and my circumstances are a lot. I have medical issues that I deal with on top of what I'm doing now.
Okay.
I work in bad medical conditions, and that tears a lot of my income right there.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to get it, because I'll just start crying. I do my best as is.
Yes, and I completely understand. So let me, we're gonna wrap this up here. I've got a few more slides left. We're close to out of time. So I'll wrap this up. We'll kind of button it up and then we can talk afterward, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so based by category, again, this is a lot, okay? At the end of the day, okay, we're still a little bit over here, but not terrible, okay? According to this, her suggestion is 250, her monthly is 215, so she's doing great according to the categories method. According to Marta's desk, it suggests 250, she's extra at 300. It's just a different way of approaching it. It's a different way of aligning your finances. But again, both work. Just stick to something, okay? This is, I think, a really big one. Here we go. So a lot of times when we start doing our budget, we fall off within 3 months. Why? Something happens and I need money, but because I've been budgeting so tight, I don't have savings. So now that credit card at 23%, 18% that I worked so hard to pay off,
Yep.
I'm right back there. Yep, I'm right back there. So make sure when you create your budget, okay, that you have a savings. So we touched on this last time. My suggestion is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So if something, God forbid, were to happen, okay, we have that savings plan right there, so I don't need to panic, right? I don't need to start liquidating all my assets and figure out how I'm gonna pay rent this month. I've got 3 to 6 months saved up. The closer you can get to 6, the better, in my opinion, okay? Once we start doing that, once we get that savings set up, that's when we start now rolling into our short-term, medium, and long-term goals, okay? I wish this was earlier on in the slide. It's not, but this is a huge, huge part that people don't realize. And this right here, not having your savings account set up, is why debt happens. That's why, right here. So make a habit of saving. Decide the amount you're gonna save a month. If it's an extra $50, great, start somewhere. Once we pay those debts off, now that money we were allocating towards debt, put it in your savings, okay? Use automatic savings. My husband told me once it was the most painful lesson ever. If you never see it, you won't miss it. Okay, all right. So that means 10% automatically into savings, 10% automatically extra into paying off my debt, okay? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, okay? To be honest with you. If you don't know, if you never saw it, you won't miss it. Limit your spending. Also painful. This whole lesson's painful, if I'm being honest. But limit your spending, okay? Yes, I really want those new pair of shoes, that cute little bag. Let's call my name. Guess what? I can probably get it at Target. I can probably find it on Amazon. Yes, it's a knockoff. Just turn around, nobody will even notice, okay? You don't need to have the label. Limit your spending. Live within your means, and the rest will hopefully, fingers crossed, fall into place. But again, the number one deterrent from staying on a budget is not having that emergency savings built up. Okay, here's the plug. Happy to have it. If you have any questions, come see me. Okay. Key takeaways. Use a budgeting strategy. Manage your spending, savings, and debt repayment. Use Avalanche, use Snowball, whatever works for you. Talk to someone you can trust, like a family, husband, friend, best friend, advisor. Talk to somebody to offer support. Make sure that person, okay, is somebody that can keep you on track, but it's not going to make you not speak to them for 6 months. Okay? Make sure you have somebody that you know has your best interest at heart, that you can talk to about it. Okay? It's very, very vulnerable. Very vulnerable. Like I said, I do it with my spouse, and we usually end up not speaking for a couple of days, but that's fine. Okay. Always keep learning by reviewing financial education. So that's, again, a plug. But make sure, whatever you're doing, keep, as your circumstances change. Maybe you make some more money, maybe you pay off a debt, review your budget. Where can I allocate those funds? What is the next important thing? How is my emergency savings doing? Do I have another debt I can repay? Once you pay something off with the snowball method, that doesn't mean that $300 a month that I was putting to pay off credit card A, doesn't mean it now goes in my pocket. Oh, no, 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 no. Now we pay off credit card B. We take those same funds, couple them with what I was already paying for credit card B a month, that minimum payment, and now it's going to credit card B. It's not a freebie. You don't get some extra money, okay? That's the importance of making sure we're rebudgeting every month, every 6 months, whatever that looks like for you. All right. Again, thanks for coming. I'm on Main Street, financial advisor, and there was one other thing that I wanted to mention, and I will take questions. I could not find the slide on this, but I think it's super important, so I wrote it down. Hold on. Okay, so if you started saving $300 a month at 25 years old, in 40 years at retirement, 65, you'd have over $660,000 at just a small growth rate of 6%. Oh wait, 10 years at 35, do the exact same amount, I would have $320,000. The difference in principal that I've invested is only $32,000. The number of savings has doubled. That's the importance of getting your finances in order as early as you can and saving your money. If I want to have the same amount of money starting at 35 that I did at 25, instead of doing $300 a month, I would have to double that. I'd go a little over $600 to get the same amount of money at 65. So getting your finances in order, under control, earlier as possible, as early as possible. Good Lord. It quite literally doubles your money in your savings account.